So I want to wish everybody a happy new year. We are going to try our best collectively to make 2018 a better year than 2017 and a better year than 2016. It feels like we've been living in a nightmare for a while now. That's not to say that things were good prior to 2016, but it at least felt like we were treading water, where now it feels like we're actively going in the wrong direction, probably because we are. But the harder we work, the better we'll do in 2018, and we can build a future that we want. You know, there are things to be thankful for. For example, Jeremy Corbyn, the Labour Party, the gains they made in the UK, and now the odds look decent that Jeremy Corbyn might be the next prime minister in the UK. That's something that we can be thankful for. The fact that, like, Jimmy Kimmel, for example, got really involved politically and has made healthcare something that he's crusading for. We might scoff at that, but that actually has giant implications. A voice like his, a platform like his, reaching so many people, and it's an issue that's personal to him because of what happened with his son. You know, that's something that can make a difference. I mean, I think we're already winning in the realm of ideas and policies, but when you have a giant voice like that add his name to the debate and come down squarely on a liberal side, I really think that helps. I mean, Trump Care's approval rating was 12% according to one poll, 17% according to another poll. Their shitty tax plan that just passed had a 33% approval rating. So people are onto the scam. Donald Trump, who ran as, Mr. Anti-Establishment Outsider, who's not going to let your job be outsourced, 93,000 jobs were outsourced under his first year in office. Obama's last year was 87,000 jobs that were outsourced. So the guy who ran on an anti-outsourcing platform outsourced more jobs than the previous guy. People are onto the scam. They see that Donald Trump appointed multiple Goldman Sachs lackeys to his administration, and they see how he's biasing everything in favor of Wall Street. So the jig is up. Is it the jig is up or the gig is up? I think I used to think it was the gig, and then I looked it up and it was the jig. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, so we can make 2018 a great year. Remember that in the last election, we had over a dozen Democratic socialists who got elected. In the last election, people went for the furthest left option available. That was the one consistent thing across the elections. It was almost wall-to-wall victories for the furthest left option available. Thankfully, Roy Moore was defeated. That's not because Doug Jones is a great candidate. He's not. But it's because, Roy Moore was a pedophile, and he was just a little bit over that line where, people said, I can't do it. He's just too out there. So there are things to look forward to. There are things to be thankful for. I'm beyond thankful for all of you. I mean, this was the year of adpocalypse. 2017 was the year of adpocalypse, where we experienced an implosion of our platform, of our funding. And it wasn't just me. I know David Pakman went through the same thing. Jimmy Dore went through the same thing. TJ Kirk went through the same thing. So a lot of YouTubers who you guys are probably used to watching, it was a real panic there for a while. And it still is a giant cut, over 50% cut in revenue. I think we're in some sort of permanent lower tier of ads. But you guys stepped up, I'm beyond thankful for that you heard my cry for help, their cry for help, and you said, we're not going to let this thing go down. And so you took to our Patreon, and I was asking, hey, look, can you give like $2 a month? I mean, that would make all the difference. If everybody who watched the show gave $2 a month, then the show would be way bigger and have way more funding than it did before. And enough of you stepped up where, there was no threat of going under anymore. We didn't hit our goal, but there's no threat of going under. And I can't tell you how thankful I am for that, because that really showed me that, really the best way to move forward anyway is funding from the grassroots. If everything else we do is grassroots, if our message is grassroots, if our policies are grassroots, if our favorite candidates are grassroots, well, should it be any different for media? So now I'm incredibly proud to say that you guys are the main source of funding for the show by far and away. And that's even though we got here in an ugly way, that's the way I think it should be. So I want to thank all of you, and I wish everybody a happy and healthy 2018. Let's continue to fight together and try our best to make this world a little bit of a better place. And I know there are a lot of battles ahead, whether it's trying to end our destructive imperialism around the world and our grotesque foreign policy, or fighting to get Medicare for all, or fighting to get a living wage. There's a lot of tough battles ahead, even just holding on to the gains that have been made to this point. Now that's a fight because we have Trump in there trying to get rid of all that stuff, and we have the Republicans who are just taking a wrecking ball to everything. But if we fight, we can win. So always remember, I know that, times seem super dark, and they are. But remember that there was once a time when women didn't have the right to vote. And if you told people, in a few years they're going to have the right to vote, they would have looked at you like, yeah, okay. They don't have the right to vote, so what do you mean? They're not going to get the right to vote. That's crazy. If you spoke to somebody in 1958 in Mississippi, or anywhere for that matter, hey, you do know that segregation is going to be over. Fast forward 10 years from now, it's not going to be the law anymore. It's going to be over. People would have looked at you like, yeah, right, that's a good one. Sure, where it's going to be over. But we have it, and we've almost always had it. Obviously there was slavery, and then there was the graduation to segregation, but what on earth would make you think we're going to get rid of that? There's no empirical reason. There's no evidence to suggest that it's going to go away. But then people said, fuck you, we're going to make it go away, and they protested, and they didn't take no for an answer. And now segregation's gone. Women can vote, segregation's gone. Now, I know you could say, well, these are old school examples. True. But point is, we all might look around today and go, hey, we want a living wage, but everybody's going to look at you like, living wage! It's, the minimum wage is $7.25. That's it. So what do you mean a living wage? You're not going to get a living wage. Well, if we fight hard enough and we don't take no for an answer, and there's a giant blue wave, maybe we can get a living wage. So, in other words, even though it oftentimes feels like there's zero hope, there is hope, man. There is hope. And I actually when I was reading through my Twitter feed last night, I got a little burst of it. I got a little burst of hope in my brain. I was just seeing all the, the gifts like Happy New Year and the 2018 and let's make this the year. And I was thinking they don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. By definition, there are way fewer elites. They may have all the money, they may have all the power, but we have the numbers. So, they're on borrowed time. They really are. And in some ways, I'm a pessimist, but then in other ways, I'm just realistic. And when you do the math, you find out they can only keep this ruse up so long as we let them. So, there are going to be gains. There are going to be things to look forward to and be happy about. There is hope, and the hope is us. That sounds corny, but listen, when you have a millennial generation, and the younger generation too, that says, no, these are our political opinions, and we're pretty certain of these things. Equality is a good thing. Gay marriage was a no-brainer. You know, we want to raise taxes on the rich. We want to end the wars. When you have an entire generation that looks at that and goes, these aren't really debatable, and we are going to have power soon, well, that should bring a smile to all of our faces. The work is hard, let's not kid ourselves, but we can get to where we need to go. So, Happy New Year, everybody. Let's have a good 2018, and let's not take no for an answer.